on. I lived in Poland, where you ain't got no help. It's a different mentality because you gotta produce, you gotta do something. And when I'm here in Uganda, like, I'm not going to bed till like 6 or 7 in the morning almost every day. I'm working like every day of the month. I've taken like one day off in the last 500 days, but I know that I have to do it. I probably wouldn't be this way in the United States.
Why Black immigrants have no respect for America. Hi guys, welcome to Kenganda. My name is Janita Maya and this is the Repart Podcast.
Hi, Tina.
Hey, Maintain.
Guys, the energy, what is happening?
So Maintain, DJ and producer, proudly Caribbean, living in Kampala now for 5 years. What's up?
O'Shea Duke Jackson, California, Sacramento to be exact, African American. Let's get into it.
Yep.
Okay, watch this clip with us and react to it with us.
The generations that were born within the last 50 to 60 years never really been through anything but the most coddled generation. And I can see why women don't respect men in America. I can see why everybody is sitting there asking Biden in order to forgive their student loans. I can see why Americans is weak. Nigerians, Jamaicans, any kind of immigrant come over here in this country and mop the floor with Americans, but specifically, let's just talk about Black people, because I noticed this thing, Black people don't really unite until they can find a European enemy. Black immigrants don't respect people that are traditionally born in America, especially Black people that were born in America. They work relentlessly, eat, sleep, grind, hustle, and go and get it. So when they finally get over into America and they see the opportunities that's presented to them over there, it ain't nothing that Americans can do. You trying to figure out how to work 40 hours and then go to sleep, and you can't even wake up in order to get to your job that you work from home for. You can't even make the meeting on time.
Okay, guys. What do you think?
Very interesting take.
Yeah, do you actually agree with what he's saying?
Who's going to start it off?
I feel like O'Shea should start it off.
Y'all don't want me in
Set the
Well, okay, number
standards.
one, shout out to brother Anton Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big up Anton.
He's a successful YouTuber. And of course, I saw that clip, but obviously I wanted to get the YouTube short.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big conversation going on, not only in America, but I think almost any of the Western developed nations. The England will be very similar.
Oh yeah, very similar.
Especially like London, just a lot of immigrants coming over. And those people who have lived there all their lives are getting, they're feeling the pressure from these people who are more hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let me just say this. I was in Johannesburg in 2020. And what I've noticed was there are a group of the Zimbabweans are the people coming in.
Okay.
And so the people, I was at this restaurant and the owner was saying, or the manager was saying, South Africans don't want to work.
Mm-hmm.
Zimbabweans are the people that want to work. And so I can see what he's saying, that Americans or Black Americans are being, they're not working as hard as these people that have a different circumstance. But I can easily reverse that. Me coming here, I'm the average person here. No offense, I'm gonna give it to you. If you're not serious, you're not gonna pretty much outwork me. That's just because I know I got it. I know that I'm not for where I'm from. I gotta get it in here. Ain't nobody gonna help me. Anybody gonna save me. So when you're like that, when your life is on, I lived in Poland, where you ain't got no help. It's a different mentality because you gotta produce, you gotta do something. And when I'm here in Uganda, like, I'm not going to bed till like 6 or 7 in the morning almost every day. I'm working like every day of the month. I've taken like one day off in the last 500 days, but I know that I have to do it. I probably wouldn't be this way in the United States. I might not be that same. I want to have that same vigor, So I think it's relative to, if you had a bunch of Americans coming over here and they had to get it, they would also go to that next level. But, I think that, again, anybody that's coming to a new place and they have to survive and they want to stay there, they're going to put in the effort. That's kind of what I feel. I don't think it's because these Nigerians or these immigrants are much better than that, because if I was to go to where they're at, yeah, I'm going to also do very well if I'm a top performer. Top performers perform very well anywhere in the world. These people that are coming over to America, they're not dumb. You know, they're not. They wouldn't be there if they were not a performer. The average guy who's an idiot just can't just go to any country and start doing well. He was already doing well where he was at. So I just think it's relative to the person in that circumstance.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ladies?
No, maintain.
Oh.
We're starting from that side, please.
Oh, really? Really? Okay.
Yes.
I agree with O'Shea on this one. I think there's two sides to everything, right? And when I first came to Uganda, I saw nothing but opportunity,
Right.
for me to get involved with. And when I started making more Ugandan friends, they didn't see the same opportunities
Good
that
point.
I did.
Good point.
They're like, they would always, what, you like it here? What, you want to stay? What, you want to
Right.
make more of? They was always surprised of the fact that I liked living in Uganda, namely Kampala. And I think it's just, when you're, I suppose it's familiarity breeds contempt sort of
Right.
situation. So it's like they can't see the positives, whereas I can. Whereas if Ugandans always tell me, when you bringing me to London with you, because they can see it from a different,
Yeah, great
perspective
point.
than I do.
Yeah.
So when they get there, they're gonna hit the ground running like,
Right.
oh my God, I ain't got to deal with X, Y, and Z. I can push on and make something of myself here. Whereas me in London, I just felt, downtrodden. Like I just felt like, you know what, I'm at the glass ceiling and my nose is pressed up against it. I'm out. So, it's just where you are, where you're at, and how you perceive, the place you're going to or the place where you're at. But yeah, I agree with O'Shea. There's two sides to it. And it was not that the people like me coming here, I'm so much more better than Ugandan DJs. It's just that it's something new to me. It's something that is all on me. And the bars I'm playing for are making, on the majority, are making money for Ugandans, black people. So that alone is giving me more impetus to do more. So that's my take on it.
I'm not going to be controversial today. Like, I agree.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
What points do you agree with?
Right?
Okay. No, I think, like when you're in a place and it's new to you, there's a different type of hunger. And but I think because we're comparing it to like moving from the West to Africa, whereas it is different when you move from Africa to the West. So, okay, so I am going to be a bit controversial.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. So when you come like from the West and you come over here,
Right.
there are opportunities that are given to you that wouldn't be given necessarily to the people that are here, or that they can't access in the same way as you can. So like rooms that you would be able to enter simply for the fact that you're not from here, type of thing. So that you said the thing about how like some Ugandans will be like, oh, you really want to stay here? That's because their version of Uganda isn't the version that
You see.
you
that I'm
get to see.
experiencing.
So I think that there's that. But then also coming from Africa and then going over to the West, there's a hunger in that. Because I think O'Shea said something about top performers and they would have been doing well where they were. Not necessarily. Like there's people that come from here who literally would have had one pair of shoes and that's it. But then they get to the States or wherever and they grind, but it's because they had one pair of shoes. Do you know what I mean? So like the hunger is completely different. But then also that thing we do where we just want to compete like within each other of, oh, this one's hardworking, this one's not as hardworking, this one's lazy. Again, it's just the crabs in a barrel thing. So it's, again, anti-blackness. But yeah. That's it.
We shall name Tina the
Anti-blackness.
Miss Anti-Blackness.
That's because many things are anti-black. Like at their core,
Yeah.
it's just like tools that are used to keep us bickering and arguing with each other when,
Doesn't make sense. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I've not been to the States, so I can't speak on what he was saying, but just to show you the Ugandan side of everything. When you look at the older generation, like our parents and whatnot, they also, I think they look at us, the younger generation, and think you're lazy or you're not grateful, or that's why people have no respect for you, because they went through so much to have what they have. And here we are, we have everything. And it's like, oh, guys, the internet is not working. It's not fast enough. I was like, oh, the world is ending. And it's looking at you like, what? We had to walk miles to school. We had to struggle, and with button phones, we went to school during the war, something like that. So I feel like both sides have that valid points, because like in this day and age, of course, I'm not going to complain about transportation because I can get where I want to get. But then in that time, they're complaining about walking and whatnot. It's the same thing as school. When we're at school, when we had the kids, like, I don't want to say the country, like refugees, yeah? They were, I don't know, they used to do things so differently. They were more hungry. Like they wouldn't sleep. They were reading every second of their life. They were going the extra mile. They were going above and beyond with everything they were doing. And then it's just us who are in school, and it's like we've not experienced anything they've experienced, and we're just enjoying the fruits of our parents or something like that. So we're just vibing. So in their eyes, they used to look at Ugandans like, oh, you guys are actually lazy because you don't know what you have and you're not working for that.
Right.
And yet when they come in, they dominate. They're among the first the top 5 students in class and whatnot. I feel like it's how you see it at the end of the day.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. For sure. I wanted to mention that we have an audience in the background. We have Kuhani and Rachel. So if they have something they want to say.
Well, I can't relate with, I've never been to America, but I have relatives who have been there, friends, people I've had, share stories. I see these on internet and all that. And being from Uganda, which is a developing country, I would say we don't have as much opportunities as in the US and everything. And sometimes, some people come here and see opportunities that we don't see here. So I feel like the people who go there, sometimes it's on scholarships, or maybe some are well-off families, so they can take care of their kids and everything. But usually because the people who have gone there say it's so many opportunities, and it doesn't matter if you left here as a doctor or as a lawyer. When you go there, you can do the lowest jobs that African Americans are not doing, or they are looking, they feel like they can't do that because it's their country. They've been there their whole life. They want to be on the forefront, So if I live here, I've left from extreme poverty. I don't care what I do there. So I don't care what these other people do, what they throw at me. I've had some say they're made fun of how they dress, how they speak, like their accents and everything. But most times they don't care because they have a goal. They are so ambitious because they feel like I didn't have this in my country. So I've come to America and I have all this. So I'm shutting out all the noise. I'm making the money. And that's why they come out as successful, and they'll see the other people as lazy because they're saying, you people are here, you have all these opportunities and everything, but you're not taking them. You're just complaining. So to them, it makes them lazy. The same way the other people would come here and see some opportunities which we don't see, or maybe we cannot access them, but they can access them. So they would see us as lazy compared to what it is or how we see it. Yeah.
Good point.
Let me just say this. So, like, very similar with the African American community is like the Caribbean community in the UK, where the Caribbean community was trying to make strides and they were being held back.
Yeah.
And then you saw, like in the 60s and 70s when you had the Biafra War. You had all these instability in Africa. So you started seeing these Africans come over to the UK. And then these Africans were doing better than the Caribbeans, although the Caribbeans had been held down by Britain. Same thing with us. So we had like Black Wall Street and all these things. And systemically, we had been held down, right?
Yeah.
So people will listen to what Anton Daniel said and will take some umbrage with it because we never factor in, like, okay, the African American community was targeted, even with drugs and crime and all of that. But again, like, one of the things we want to talk about is that, like Dr. Claude Anderson said, these people are not us. They're not going to have our experience. And that's been the division between the African American community and the first generation Africans. We call them the new blacks, the burgeoning blacks. So they don't have our experience. And we're like, well, wait a minute. Our work is why you're here, which is partly true. It is true. Just like for the Caribbeans and the Africans, like you guys paved the way for everybody else to come there. Yeah. But when they come there, they don't care. But let me just say this, and this is no disrespect to what I'm seeing in the African continent, but when I come here, it's very difficult when I first got here to see what's going on with the local person's experience, because I'm not them. So if I don't know that you're living on $1 a day or may not care, I'm going to get to moving. And if you don't do it, I'm going to come in and do it very well. I'm going to try to obliterate anything in my path. That's because I got to get to it and I got to be somebody. That's the reason why I'm here. So a lot of people get offended by that, but I understand how immigrants feel. It's not their fault that they don't understand our issues and they didn't grow up like us and constant electricity and things like that. And I understand that we've been targeted as a community. That is definitely true. But we can't expect Caribbeans been in Black America for a long time. So Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, people like that. But the new generation coming over, we can't expect them to align with our issues because they're not us. And dare I say, when we go back to Africa, we don't align with what they've been going through. Because you just said it, the doors are more open for us. Mm-hmm. It's easier for us to move around and do things. We have more privilege when we come here. It's the truth. We're not living like somebody in Kamocha, something like that. Right. When we coming in, like you talked about golfing and living in whatever. What? Like, what? It's a true story. I took Prentice to the airport. Mm-hmm. We won't call one of our maids' name. We was like, oh, because why don't you ride with us? She'd never been to the Entebbe airport before, ever. Yeah. You know what I'm talking? She never been there. Yeah. This is the first time she ever went to the airport. She was so excited. I'm like, okay. She's like, I've never even been to the airport. She's been here for like 40 years. Mm. So for her, it was exciting. And I was like, I almost wanted to cry, like, fuck, you never been to the airport. So the thing is, I think like if you're an immigrant in any country, those new people are going to come for you and they're going to come for you hard. They're going to eat your lunch. Dr. Claude Anderson predicted this about the Hispanic community. That's why John Leguizamo was saying, now we built this country. That's been a big issue in America with Black Americans. But if you don't get after it and unite with your people, anybody's going to come in and take what you got. And I will say the same thing. If I didn't have a Pan-African mentality, here, if you don't see the opportunity, somebody like me, I'm going to crush you. That's just how I feel. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't think like that, but if I was that kind of person, I'd knock you out the box. If you're not going to do the work, I'm going to come in and do it very, very, very well. And I don't care what's your excuse. I don't care if you're poor. None of that. And that's the same thing coming over us. They don't care. And we can get offended by it, but we need to actually understand, like, hey, got to rise to the occasion because these people are coming in, they're not playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I think conversations between us all need to be had like we're having now, right? Mm-hmm. Because to understand each other's experience is only going to make us better. Mm-hmm. So, you like me coming here and having, certain views on things, you will, because we're having conversations, and I'm not the only like British Caribbean, if to coin a phrase or whatever, that I am, they will understand a bit more. Right. Oh, he behaves such a way because where he's from.
Great point.
Yeah, it's XYZ. And I can be I'm a little bit more learned with my Ugandan friends about the issues and things they face. Mm-hmm. Even to the point where, yes, my accent and where I'm from and my experience and my knowledge will get me in the door. But after that, it always stems down to, he's not Ugandan. Mm-hmm. So if it comes to me being the face of an event or me wanting to promote an event, it's not going to be looked upon
favorably.
Favorably with their peers and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, couldn't you find a Ugandan who could have done that?
Right.
And I get it. Like, jobs are scarce here. People are struggling. So me getting a job over Uganda is not going to look good. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if I do get that job, let's start a conversation. Mm-hmm. Like, what can I bring to the table? Mm-hmm. Like, how can I can train, people can learn off me, and then the people you employ from that point on, you know, will be better skilled. You know, you're not having to deal with like, you know, inadequacies and getting frustrations and then you're firing them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're like, you've got someone there on the ground like me with a different set of skills, a different experience that I can bring to the table and help Ugandans. Then if after a few years, I could move to the side or I could move upstairs or I could start my own thing. But, you know, the conversations need to be had because my experience personally, I'm starting to get a little bit like tired of like people fearing what I have to offer. Don't fear what I have to offer and just like kind of like, you know, ignore me. Like, listen to what I have to say. Let's have this conversation.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
I think like as foreigners, it forces us to even make this podcast and make our own events because of what you just said.
Yeah.
So it forces you to like, okay, we got to survive here.
Yeah.
So now we got to like, okay, let's all come together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like people who wouldn't have probably worked together before, it forces us to say, we gotta do something about our situation.
Exactly, O'Shea, because that's my mindset now. My mindset's now, all right, I'm just going to open a bar.
Yeah.
And I'm going to decorate it and run it the way I've been trying to do with
Other bars.
bars.
There you go.
Right? And then when you come there and be like, right, this place is, no, how did you, this is what I'm saying. Let's, boom, we can have this wherever we want. We just need to work a little more together more, like, I mean, less fear that I'm going to take your job. I'm going to take from you. I'm not taking, I'm adding.
But the thing is, not a lot of people think like that. That's why there is that fear. It's like what you suggested, it sounds great, but most people will not be thinking like that. It will simply just be about what they can do for themselves. But then also it's hard because like, just because you don't want to take jobs away from Ugandans, you still have to work. So what you're saying is a good balance, but most people won't think like that.
Yeah.
So.
I hear that.
Would you, this is off topic, would you say that diaspora is taking jobs away from the locals? I'm sorry, I think it was off topic, but what do you think?
Well, let me just say this. I know that I saw a video the other day. I think Kuhani, you want to say something, right? So before I go there, I saw a poultry farmer in Ghana saying that the diaspora is now running poultry in Ghana. So it could be Ghanaian diaspora or other groups, but I'm pretty sure it's Ghanaian diaspora. But now to those locals, they don't look at those people as true. In my honest opinion, from what I believe, they probably don't look at them as true local Ghanaians, if that makes sense. Possibly because you've lived somewhere else. And to be fair, once your kids grow up in America or Britain, after 2 generations, they're now us. They become us. You know what I mean? So the diaspora is competing against local Africans back in the continent. And in fact, the government wants that. The government wants you to, we've met with guys before. Come bring all of your people here.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Yeah.
The guy told us. We won't call his name. We want you guys to bring your people here. And within a year, you'll have countries. Look, bring your podcast to our country. We want you guys here. So what is that? What are you saying to the people who are there? So now, 2 things can happen. You could bring in something that wasn't there. Like this Repat podcast. It wasn't here anywhere in the world. So that's not necessarily competition in that case because it wasn't anybody doing this. But now when you start going to some of your things, like we see with the Chinese trickling down into like the local sectors, clothing, imports of goods, that's different. And that will happen. And it will come down to who does the job best. And Americans are going to be good. I'm just going to tell you who, in comparison to what you see every day, people from Britain and America are going to come in with their education, their systems of doing things. They're going to be good. So in a way, that part, you're going to feel that aspect. And then you're also going to see these people coming in, contractors. They have contractors here. You're going to get Americans coming here and doing that. You're going to get Americans coming in doing everything that's already here. And some people are going to go. And then some businesses will have to be forced to get better. But yeah, it's going to happen. Next 15 years, 20 years in Africa, you're going to see more people coming here. And they're going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. My thought on that is I don't think in the line of work I'm in, I'm you know, I'm in direct conflict with the local Ugandan in terms of like work. I think the plans I have now is that I will be employing Ugandans. So I will be creating, you know, opportunities, and I'll be creating a framework that probably most local Ugandans haven't worked in. Like we was talking about it off air, right? About how poorly paid and how badly treated some like drivers are, right? So, you know, by working for me, like I can show you, like, you will get paid on time, you will get looked after. I will show you compassion when you come to me with a problem and you're real about it. And this will hopefully give people experience, like, you know what, this is actually how I want to be treated by an employer. So moving forward, you could be like, no, I'm not doing that, or I'm not going to let you treat me like this. I want X, Y, and Z, and if you can't provide it, then I'll have to move on. So that's my mindset on it with regards to your question.
Because typically, I don't think like people from the diaspora would be coming looking for jobs necessarily.
Yeah.
They would be creating businesses. So if they have that motto of like, I'm going to be a different type of employer, then why not? Because working in this place.
Kuhani had something to say.
For me, what I wanted to say was I also feel like the media also contributes a lot in how people deal with each other. Like if I go to the diaspora, what I've been fed by the media, they show us a specific type of person that, like, that's what I'm going to find there. Then you get there and you realize it's different. Same thing with when people come from the diaspora, whatever they're shown in the media, like they think when you come to Africa, you're going to find, I don't know, people living in, you know, strange situations. But you get here and you're surprised. You're like, oh my God, it's so developed. People are actually doing things.
Even the whole lazy thing is from that as well. It's the media that pushes this thing of like, you know.
Yeah.
So people are they lazy or no?
No, they're
Is it true?
not.
No.
Everyone's doing the best they
No,
can.
I think some people are lazy. I'm sorry.
She just silence.
I mean, let me just tell you this, right? So I have this is not me saying this. If you look at most people, like in America and in the African American community, you will hear a lot of African Americans say that African Americans are lazy. This is black people saying this. And in Uganda, for sure, I've heard Ugandans say that about Ugandans. More so than not. Like you hear all the time, Ugandans don't want to work. Ugandans are lazy. But now I want to push back on this. It's like, okay, if a person is paying to go to work, and that happens here because people just don't want to feel, you know, lazy as an archetype. So that person is 300,000 shillings a month. You're working them 7 days a week, and their bills to cost to be them is 1 million a month. Is that person going to be very excited to come to work and to what is the incentivization? So I think that a lot of times that laziness, and you never ask them why. Why do you feel that you are lazy? And we've never heard the other side of it, but I would suspect there is no incentivization. Somebody's life has to mean something for them to really be productive. Yeah. That's the reason why people want to go to the diaspora. Because if I go to America, I got a chance. I can be something if I try hard to be something. Whereas here, I think somebody in like our position, it's a lot different from somebody who didn't have, like, because we're coming from a credit system. I have an American Express cards and stuff. I have dollars and whatever that I can get things done. So for me, I see the opportunity, I can just move. But that might not be the same case. Somebody can work in wrong tribe, wrong name, and can never get anywhere. When you get in America, it ain't about if you're fat or if you're gay or if you're whatever. Pretty much if you're smart and you can do the work, hey, America loves talent. America values talented people. We don't care what you look like. Long as you do what you're supposed to do, take that opportunity. In fact, we want you to do it so you can create business and create more taxes for the government. That's what America wants, talented people. Whereas here, talented people are not really appreciated so much. They're not, you know. So what is this person supposed to do? I would suspect. I think a lot of people are just giving up. They feel like, I'm not going to be listened to.
Yeah.
There is some level of corruption as far as how far my life can go. and it's predetermined. But if I go somewhere else, my life is not predetermined. If I can do it on my own continent, I have a chance.
Yeah. Just to piggyback on what you were saying, I feel like for Ugandans, I don't think. Oh, I take back my word. Not everyone is lazy. What I'm trying to say is that, like he said, it's like Ugandans have this thing of, oh, you know what? Just go and work, even if you're, sometimes you go somewhere, you work, you're earning a very low salary, and then it's like your transportation is more than that salary. Your cost of living is higher than what you earn. So you're just working so that people don't see you at home. Because I feel like in an African home, you can't just sit on the couch. Like that's the most unacceptable thing in this. For an African child, you can't just go home and sit.
Caribbean home too.
You can't
Black
even on
homes in
holiday.
general,
yeah. If
You
I'm sitting down,
can't wake up and sit. What? You woke up and
Go
decided
read a
to
book.
sit?
That's what I got.
Exactly.
If
So
I
it's
got
like-
up before my parents, I'm watching cartoons. They walk in the room. What are
Yeah.
you watching? What's this? Garth, read a book.
Exactly.
Sorry
So
to
it's like-
interrupt you, Jody.
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay.
Sorry.
It's a-
Very triggering.
I'm sorry.
Very triggering, sorry.
But yeah, it's like you have to keep doing something so that people like that who have, for most Ugandans, it's like, oh, let people see that I'm doing something, even if it's not getting me anywhere or it's not going to help anyone in my life. So let me be seen as doing something. But then on the other side, that people are genuinely just lazy. Like they just want to sit back at home and have everything handed to them. I know someone who was at uni and he kept failing his semester because he wanted to stay at uni so that his parents can fund his lifestyle. Like
Professional
isn't that the definition of laziness?
Is he still there?
He's somewhere.
Lecturer there now.
Yeah, but like it doesn't make sense. He just wanted. So the semester I said, oh, this semester I must fail. He was just, lazing in bed, partying, living his business. Like, that person is lazy. That person doesn't want to do anything for himself. So yes, there are people out there who are lazy, who want to take advantage of other people. So those exist. But then that people are hardworking, but it's just that the system doesn't favor them, or the system doesn't help them to be who they would be if they went somewhere else and ended up becoming a great person.
Also, sorry.
Are you
No,
sure?
you go. You
Okay.
go.
Yo, you guys. I read this thing once. Mine's quick. I read this thing once that said, "Are you lazy or are you depressed?"
Talk
And
about
that's
it.
like.
Talk about it.
So when you were talking about the wages and how it's low and like no like incentives to get up and do what you have to do, or knowing that no matter how many times I wake up and I grind, life's still gonna be crap. So I think that's
And a country like this that doesn't recognize depression, it's just like, no,
they recognize it. They just
Right.
don't care.
yeah.
They genuinely don't care.
They really don't, because it's like, oh, you're feeling bad today? Like, no, just go and work. You'll feel better.
Yeah, I also feel like for a country like Uganda, where the biggest population is youth, and this is like a whole different generation, the way we work, is not like the way our parents or grandparents used to work. And then we are trying to adapt to working online and all that. So to some people, it's lazy. Like you work online at home, that's being lazy. But also that's also creating lazy youth, to be honest, because then we want to make quick money, in ways that we don't want to do a lot of work, but we want to make like the money, be rich, live that gram life, or exactly. Yeah. So some people, there was a time where I had my friend complaining like these youths are so lazy. Someone cannot even write an application letter. Yet they have access to smartphones and the internet. Like just go Google how to write like they don't know how to apply for jobs. And it's true. Like even the new system they created of getting passports, which is online. There are so many people who don't know how to do this, but they have smartphones. Yeah. So, and also we have so many issues going on in the country, politics, unemployment, other things as well. So some are genuinely lazy, it's so many excuses, but also the entrepreneurs in this country are also creating that problem of lazy youth. So Me, I think that's the whole issue.
It's true. It's like I have this conversation with my dad when I go back home. And he always says to me, oh, you have it easy, you have this, you have that. And I'm like, Dad, break it down. When you bought this house, right? It was £25,000. Your house is now worth £400,000. If I wanted to buy this house off you, like mortgage-wise, I would need 10% of it. So what's that, 40,000? Like, and the average wage in the UK is 38,000. Right?
A year.
Around, yeah, per year.
Yeah.
I can't afford that.
Yeah.
So, you know, times are different. Like my grandmother's house, it was in a very affluent area called Kensal Green. It was Kensal Rise. Kensal Rise. My dad was the only one working at the time, so he had to get the mortgage out for my grandparents. The house was £5,000. Now, that same house is £800,000.
You guys still have it?
No, my grandparents flew back in the 90s. They sold it for about 100,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but my parents still got theirs. Well, they've paid off their mortgage.
Okay.
So they're good. But yeah, it's so times have changed. So like the conversation, like I was saying earlier about conversations. Sometimes conversations between kids and their parents and the way we have to navigate our life as opposed to yours.
It's much hard. It's much harder now.
Much harder.
Yeah,
Much
it's
harder.
because even in the 80s and 90s, again, inflation in comparisons to the times in which people were earning money. Like my mom had bought a house in LA in the 80s for like $60,000. Wow. That was in South Central, but still.
Yeah.
So now, and then you can retire. I have accepted, put up a status on WhatsApp. We're all going to work until we die. That's just, you're going to work. Yeah, that's how it is. I have medical school loans of like $300,000 that I need to clear. You know, my mom just bought a house, so I don't foresee myself, and even though I earn, very well, I don't see myself with this business and everything else. Like I'll be working until I die. Whereas there was retirements and pensions and things like that, and things were, don't get me wrong, like they didn't have as much technology, but hey, that was some good decades. The 80s and the 90s, those were good years. Not as much competition, but now there are more opportunities for people who are entrepreneurs and you want to get out and work. Yeah, that's out there. But everybody who doesn't want to work, let's say, like you can work 40 hours a week and retire off that and have a family and you will be okay. Yeah. You can't do that anymore. Now, everybody's not going to be crazy and psychopathic like me and work every day of the year and, try to get every opportunity you can. Some people coming from other countries, think about it. They have their mom, extended family in the village, people like that. Yeah, when you get to America, you have to make it. You can't come back and say, I didn't make it.
Yeah.
So when you're in America, you don't feel like nothing else exists outside of America. And you don't really care. It's the end all be all. But I'm going to say like this. When I come here, I have to make it here. Like it's either do well here or go back in the body bag. Those are the only options for me. I came here for what I wanted to get and what I'm going to do. And if I don't do that, I'll go back in a body bag. And that's how mostly everybody who comes to America has that mentality, because you have to have that mentality to do well. Because in America, a lot of people are smart in America. Good education, they work like crazy hours. You have to rise up to that level to compete. And you got some very bright kids in America, like super smart. So if you don't have that energy, you can't win. And in comparisons to the time of when you were coming up, your parents coming up, people were still smart. But now people are smarter.
Yeah.
They work more.
They work smarter.
Yeah.
Definitely work smarter.
Yeah, and like, try to buy a house, and like my mom just bought a house like almost $800,000. The first house my mom bought in Sacramento was in the 90s was $60,000. If I want to buy a house in a similar neighborhood, that's what I'm looking at. And what do you need to earn to qualify for $800,000 house or $1 million house?
The rate of inflation needs to be looked at. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
But yeah, guys, what do you think would be the solution?
Conversations. Honest, open conversations. That's what I think the solution is.
Okay, Tina,
Yeah,
Miss Anti-Blackness.
Because you see now, I was gonna say something, you know. No, yeah, conversations definitely, and not allowing to like say dumb rhetoric, like about
people.
Yeah.
Our audience in the background.
Accountability. People should be accountable for, whatever they do in life.
In this Africa?
Yeah.
We love you, Rachel.
Yeah. O'Shea.
All blacks, we just need to get in a room and like fight it out.
Oh God.
Jesus.
Yeah, the diaspora. I have a podcast. The diaspora just needs to go into a big war, and last man standing and all of that. And then after that, we could more or less understand each other, because we have some things in the pipeline that are going to really change the face of Africa. The Africa Free Trade Agreement. I know that we're having some issues with that, but it's coming together. We'll have the biggest trading bloc in the world. Then you have the people in America like, well, I'm a Nigerian or I'm a Congolese American. I'm doing better than you guys. You guys been here. And then you could easily drop me somewhere like a person like me. I don't speak French, but if you send me to Lagos or anywhere in English-speaking Africa, I can also say I'm going to mop the floor with a lot of people when I get there. It's exactly what's going to happen. But we got to look at the circumstances of why I'm going to mop you when I get there. I've had some help too outside of my work ethic, right? And instead of having a conversation about who's mopping who, let's see how the African world and the diaspora world can help mop everybody else together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're doing very well. That's nice. But as a group, we're all getting laughed at by everybody, because white people don't take none of y'all serious. Us either. So now let's figure out why we're not doing well. Let's be accountable to each other, and let's try to benefit off this big trading block. Let's invest into our people, and let's pull people from these corporations to come and work for us. And so we can all partner with them. And that's how we're going to grow. We're going to grow, like you said, by having a conversation, but we're also going to grow by having that war. That war needs to happen. Because what's happening right now in the black world is because we don't like each other, we're staying away on purpose. So we're staying away in our little corners and we're talking shit. Because, most Nigerian Americans, if they were to listen to that, they would want to agree with what he's saying. But now, if you send a group of talented African Americans into Nigeria or anywhere, you're going to see similar things happening. Just like if you're seeing Thailand, Nigerians in America, you're going to see similar things happening. Instead of coming together and let's make those things happen as a block. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take over the world, then we fight after if we need to.
Why do we have to fight out?
We got to fight it out, because this is the only way you're going to get. We got to get through all the name calling, all the bullshit. Let's get to it now. Then we start developing. But we need to fight now, or argue, or have a roast session or whatever. So get it out of your system. And, if you need some people need to go back into the room and fight it out for about a year or two, you guys go over there. Then when you get ready to come out and you want to interact with the crowd, then let's come out. And then we can start doing some great things, because there's so much opportunity in America. And you don't have to be, one thing I love about this place, you don't have to be in either place. We could have people in America, in the diaspora, and here doing very well. We could make it easier for each other. We want to be there. They can still be there. Why can't we still have a connection that helps everybody? That's what China does. That's what India does. So.
Oh, well said. Let's fight it out and then talk afterwards.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the perfect way to close this episode. Guys, where can the people find you?
Tinagram.
Okay. She's so calm. Okay.
Yeah, you can find me DJ Maintain, all social mediums. I also have a project out called Maintain the Effects. I never speak about it. It's been out for about, when I released it, December. Yeah, so it's a hip-hop album, and me and an amazing Jamaican brother called Bad Effects. It's called Maintain the Effects. The link is in my bio on my Instagram. Check it out.
Okay, perfect.
At O'Shea Duke, Instagram.
But don't message him. Like he says, if you have anything you'd like to share with us, email us at timkenganda@gmail.com. Also follow Miss Kohani Hani in the background at Street Kohani. And you can also watch her at the Pan-African Dating Show. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Kenganda Nation. Subscribe to this channel, hit the bell. We'll see you guys next time.